Hello and welcome. My name's Ian, Handyman Plus fan, and today is a Friday, which is always a good day because it means you're getting to the end of the week and your body can rest. And for me, being almost 50 is important to rest. But yeah, I mean, it's been an eventful time. I'm going to do some more updates. There's a lot that's been happening. I'm getting like a lot of people asking about fitting doors, internal doors. So on average, it takes me about an hour and a half to fit an internal door, depending on what it's made out of. So fire doors, I I will sort of fit them. I do have specialized tools for like lifting them, but the average fire door is about 60 kgs roughly. It depends if it's it's a 30 or a 60. And Obviously the higher the fire rating, the heavier it's going to be because the materials are more dense. And those to move around and work with do take a lot longer to do that. So I was working for a customer yesterday and it took me 4 hours to fit two glass doors. Now these glass doors were, I think, were they about 30 kgs each. And obviously on my website I do not lift any more than 15 kgs. Well, I do obviously lift more than that in a day. But you've got to look after your body, and my body is a tool that I use in order to make money, just like everybody else. Most people sort of work from home or behind a desk, so they'll have like their bum as a tool to sit on. So different parts of your body are different. No, they have the, so I'm just joking. They have their brain obviously to work with. And Don't want to offend people. Oh gosh, I'm terrible at offending people. If you're offended, just leave a thumbs up because then I know that you're offended. Because a lot of people watch my videos and they'll just be like, meh. Who is this guy? What is he on about? So yeah, my story is I'm a little handyman from Swindon, and I generally post on sort of like bits and pieces that I do. And I sort of like try and answer questions. But the question that I've got a lot over the last week was like, how much to fit doors? Also flooring as well. How much to lay flooring? Well, it does depend on the floor. It depends on the type of flooring you put down. Pictures, videos are very, very important. So if you've got a floor and it's got a carpet on it, if you just lift the corner of the carpet and have a look at the flooring underneath, and then like send a picture of that to me, that is a huge amount of information. Even sort of like giving me your address is a huge amount of information, because the amount of information on everybody's addresses nowadays is huge. For instance, if somebody said, I live at 12 Humpty Dumpty Street, I would be able to look on, the old Tinternet, and there'll be like, a layout, a plan of that property down to how big the living room is, how big the bathroom is. Straight away, I can start going, well, okay, the room is this, and this by this. So the information is all there. I use AI as a tool to compile a lot of bits for customers, which saves me a lot of time. It also saves them a lot of time. I do all my quotes via WhatsApp, so you just message me on WhatsApp and then I'll just send you a quote straight away. And as I say, the best thing to do is just to send me like a few videos or a little video of what it was. And I do get some quite interesting ones sent my way. I am tempted to sort of make little YouTube videos about the sort of interesting jobs that I get coming through, because I think people would be interested, the random sort of like weird little jobs like, Ian, would you do would you do this? Now there are jobs that I don't touch, such as sort of drain works. There's some, you got Dynarod. That's a well-known company. Other drain clearing companies are available, but yeah, you've got companies out there that pay them a lot of money to deal with poop. So I generally don't deal with poop. Do I fix toilets? Yes, I fix the flushing mechanism of a toilet, and I think the fastest I've ever fixed one of those in is an hour. But but the system itself wasn't even attached to the wall, um, and then I had to like properly attach to the wall afterwards. But even that still took me an hour. Um, and so the parts to replace all of the internal flushing mechanisms in your toilet on average is about 30 quid, unless it's a really fancy dancy one that's built in behind tiles. And then the only way to change it is, unless the person building the bathroom has made an access panel, is actually to take off the tiles and repair it. So if you're having a bathroom designed, always make sure it can be serviced afterwards, as sort of a matter of like, because otherwise it's going to cost you a fortune just to fix something. And it kind of doesn't make sense to like destroy a bathroom. I have gone into like, there was a broken shower once, and what I did is I actually broke one tile, and then I took out that tile, and then I cut the wall. So I cut into the wall behind it to gain access to the parts I needed. And then after that, I then replaced the tile and the part of the wall and rebuilt it that way. So I've done some like really sort of clever stuff on access work to very sort of like complex bathroom problems before. So yeah, what am I doing today? Well, I'm fitting an outside tap. The weather is lovely, and in Swindon, there's a hosepipe ban. So I'm off to fit lots of taps. No, I'm just joking. I mean, I'm not joking about fitting the tap. I am actually fitting an outside tap. But obviously, when the ban comes off, it should lift. I mean, we live in a very damp country. The one thing that's affected sort of like water is actually the storage of it. So Thames Water sold off a lot of these places where it actually stores the water, like giant reservoirs and things like that, because maintaining them and running them costs them money. So they just thought, oh, we'll just sell it. Okay. and now obviously we kind of need those bits of infrastructure. So parts like that, I think that there should be like the problem with most councils, most governments, is they have no idea what the left hand doing and the right hand is doing. They just don't talk to each other. Hopefully we can put AI in charge and it can just deal with everything, and then hopefully it doesn't just decide to kill us all. That'll be a great ending. That'll be a great solution, because in 10 years from now, hopefully we're jumping into spaceships and going off to explore the universe. That would be nice. Hopefully it doesn't collapse into civil war and the world as we know it ends. There's a lot of talk, actually, all joking aside, that there might be a civil war in the UK, and I can definitely see it. The UK is the second most unhappiest place on this planet, the last time I was like looking into it. And the reason it's unhappy is quite simply because of you got population density. So what I do is I always look at sort of like, okay, population density. How many people live in London? And I think it's ridiculous. I can't actually remember the figure, but it was into the thousands per kilometre. It was into the thousands per kilometre across the UK. I think it's about 440-ish people per kilometre, which is very high. It should be about 100 per kilometre to have a sort of like safe and operational, civil and happy society. Yeah, even Japan doesn't have a population density that high, and they live on a little island. There's I think is about, I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I'm pretty good with figures. But the moral of the story is that cows are better regulated than humans. So if you're a cow living in the UK, you're governed by a body called DEFRA. And DEFRA oversee the looking after of cows. And cows get more rights than humans do to living conditions in the UK. In the UK, you can build a HMO, fill it full of people, earn lots of money, and it's a winner. But is it a winner? Because all you do is create civil unrest and very unhappy people. And so this has been going on for years now, and I'll be really interested what other people think, because these are just my opinions. And I would love it if you just put some, questions, comments, whatever down below of what you think about the UK and how you feel about living here. So on that note, have a happy Friday. Don't be all doom and gloomy. And just remember, there's always good old British tea. I love you guys. Peace. And if you can be anything, be kind.